You're watching Business Access TV.
Business Access.
Business Access. Business Access.
Business Access.
You are watching Business Access TV.
Business Access TV.
Serious about business.
Serious about business.
It's the last PSOJ President's Breakfast Forum for 2018, and Business Access TV, as usual, is here to bring you the highlights. I'm Javon Keys. Stay tuned. Mr. Mitchell, so tell us about the theme for this morning's breakfast.
The theme for this morning's session is citizen security as a tool for effective crime management. It is intended to raise the awareness of what citizen security is, and shortly, citizen security is the level of confidence that the average citizen feels in his community and how he feels about his ability to move around in his environment, and what structures the government, the state can place around the community to increase that level of confidence. How the police force and the security forces behave is critical to citizen security. So we're trying to raise the awareness of the population on citizen security and to make people realize that hard policing alone is not enough, that you have to raise the confidence of the citizens in what you are doing.
So how important is it for businesses generally to be concerned about citizen security?
Well, I think it's very important that confidence and the level of the business community's confidence is raised in that their stakeholders can come to work, their employees can come to work, that they can move freely around in the community, and that they will have certainty of operations generally in the society at large.
And for businesses out there considering being a part of the PSOJ, what are the benefits?
I think the benefits of the PSOJ are, among other things, that you get a platform to express your concerns, to express your interests. You get information. We have a monthly economic bulletin. You get President's Fora like this. And you also get to find out what's going on in the society that you operate in. Then we have networking. We have mingles on a quarterly basis, so you do have networking with other members and with important influencers in the society.
So firstly, tell us a bit about what First Rock Capital does.
It's really a real estate investment holding company which has as its core focus real estate investments and private equity.
So how important is a company like that now in this day and age?
Well, truthfully, real estate represents the most finite investment asset, and what it offers is above average returns and stability with respect to capital.
So this morning you're going to be inducted in the PSOJ. How does that feel?
Excellent. You know, the PSOJ's mandate is a very solid one, and you know, the PSOJ has been doing a lot of work with respect to, you know, championing and being an advocate for businesses and just the private sector in general. And what better way to express our support than to be a member?
So we're zoning in a little bit on the discussion this morning. It's about citizen security. How does your company play a role in that, or does that affect your company any at all, do you think?
I mean, security, you know, continues to be a main issue and at the forefront as well of all major businesses and individuals as well. So anything that we can do to enforce or reinforce the importance of it, then, you know, it has our support.
Citizen security, in every sense, has become a vital part of effective crime management. And as we all know, the crime that currently pervades Jamaica negatively impacts human development, it affects our economic development, it touches our social and cultural rights at the local, regional, and international levels. We know this, that when a country fails to protect its people from crime and violence, it leads to a breakdown in the relationship between those in power and those who are being governed. Therefore, we have to ensure that the correct checks and balances are made to foster that relationship by creating the required community action plans, better citizen police arrangements, and having an overall coordinated system of crime control and crime prevention. We've seen the implementation of the states of emergency. We've also seen a number of zones of special operations being declared across several communities in the country in a bid to really put a cap on the criminal acts taking place in those areas. We've seen some positive results, certainly when it concerns St. James and the murder figures trending positively downwards. And we've also seen where acts of violence in general has trended down in these areas. What more can we do? We will explore all of that this morning. But we'll also talk about whether these approaches are indeed effective and how much more can be done in this area. Moving right into the rest of the proceedings, ladies and gentlemen, I now invite Mr. Howard Mitchell, President of the PSOJ, to deliver opening remarks.
The subject that we are going to discuss this morning is a critical but not a well understood one, I think, in this society. I think that it is fitting for the PSOJ to end the year with the same topic that we started the year with, which is the issue of crime. The issue that has plagued us every year for more than the last 30-odd years, that has become endemic, that has been written into the fabric of our culture, that children have grown up with, that women have had to learn to live with, that businesses have had to write in permanently into their balance sheet protective devices for their stakeholders. I think it is so important that we remove the callous protective indifference that we have developed towards crime and face it in its stark terms and understand its motivation, its structures, and how to minimize it. You will never rid a society completely of crime, but you can reduce its impact and the terrible consequences on your people. So that I think we want to raise the level of awareness of citizen security in Jamaica, because if we are going to move from growth to development, then we need to understand that our human resources, our citizens, the people of our nation, are the most critical component of that development. And you can have growth. You can, in fact, have growth that mitigates against development by increasing marginalization of a society and sowing the seeds for its eventual destruction. So we need to be mindful, and we need to start planning for that.
Don't go anywhere. We'll have more from the final PSOJ President's Breakfast Forum for 2018 after this break.
It's Island Hour, it's Island Hour, it's Island Hour, free eye test. It's Island Hour, it's Island Hour, it's Island Hour, free eye test. Free eye testing is back and it's here to stay. Island Eyewear offers free eye testing every day, all day at all locations island-wide. Conditions apply. Make your appointment today at www.islandeyewear.com or call us 630-1180. Island Eyewear, your style, your price. It's Island Hour, free eye test.
Internal audit. Internal audit service is vital when organizations aim to achieve reliable financial reports and regulatory compliance, navigating risks, streamlining operations, and promoting stakeholder confidence. The benefits of a high-quality internal audit are limitless, especially when you secure yours from a firm with deep industry experience, exposure to hundreds of organizations, dedicated professionals, and proven methodologies. Whether you're looking to establish an internal audit function, attain or maintain compliance with various regulations, mitigate your risk of fraud, or gain an overall assessment of your internal controls, you can count on Dodge & Global for reliable and timely business solutions. We've helped organizations nationwide and across industries to establish internal control structures. create an internal audit function, or improve an existing one, and maintain regulatory compliance. We provide ongoing education as regulations and public perceptions change. We are trusted advisors for management and boards. External auditors can be confident in our work and its results. Let Dodge & Global be a turnkey solution for your organization. Our team can help you make smarter, more effective decisions. Let's have a conversation. Contact us at email info@dodgen.global. Website https://dodgen.global.
Ready for cable for as little as $100? Ready for no monthly cable bill? Ready for 10 TV channels absolutely free? Then pick up our Ready TV box at authorized stores for $4,500. Hook it up to your TV set, then top it up with Ready Credit for 1, 7, or 30 days. Buy now and get $1,000 free Ready Credit and start watching your favorite shows. Pick it up, hook it up, top it up. Ready TV. Prepaid cable TV when you're ready. Now serving Kingston and St. Catherine. Limited time offer while stocks last. Conditions apply.
Thanks for staying with us. If you're just joining us, you're tuned into BATV's coverage of the final President's Breakfast Forum for 2018. Let's head to the stage.
I now invite our President, Mr. Howard Mitchell, to make his way to the podium to present the certificates to our new members. So, our first inductee today has joined us as an individual member. Please join me in welcoming Nadine Burrows-Siaga. Nadine has managed Island Broadcasting Services Limited, better known as KLAS-FM. She has also worked with National Supply Company Limited, Stewart's Auto, Silver Star Motors, T-Tech Limited, and Prime Sports. 876 on the go. One of our new corporate members to allow commuters to book cabs and make payments online, making transportation more secure for passengers and also for drivers. Bumblebee Digital Agency, specializing in targeted Wi-Fi advertising, digital marketing, social media management, and integrated marketing campaigns. The company has been reinventing how regional partners connect with their audience through its team of professionals and innovative concepts. First Rock Capital Holdings, an easily understood business model. By owning and managing properties that generate income, developing these properties and selling them for financial gain. Green Solutions International is a regional company created to advance energy and environmental sustainability throughout the Caribbean, with the goal of enabling energy-sufficient communities. Green Solutions International, welcome to the PSOJ. Michael University College. Joining us as a corporate member, Michael University College is the oldest teaching institution in the Western Hemisphere and continues to produce graduates who are critical thinkers and prepared to make an impact locally, regionally, and internationally. The Regis franchise is another corporate member being inducted this morning. Consistently providing client solutions, they deliver 100% managed and maintained workspaces as they continue to build their global footprint. Trend Media, they've successfully transitioned from being an online content provider to a full-service digital media house. One of its flagship e-publications, Loop News, is now identified as a credible local news provider. Let me once again congratulate all our inductees collectively.
To our panelists, thank you so much for joining us on a very important topic, one that certainly has dominated the news cycle and the national conversation where it concerns this issue of crime, but more so, citizen security. I want to thank you and we look forward to your inputs this morning. I want to start off with you, Mark Shields. What does it really take to deliver citizen security?
Citizen security, as far as I'm concerned, starts with some very basics that are important to all of us that live, work, come to Jamaica as visitors. I delivered a speech a month ago at the CIN lecture in New York, and I started the point by saying two things. One is, I've been in Jamaica for 15 years, And in 15 years, 20,000 people have been murdered, which seems an awful lot of people to me. And that's 20,000 people murdered plus thousands and thousands of families, the victims, the untold victims of people who have lost their husbands, wives, sons, daughters, cousins, aunties. So there's all of that group there, 20,000 people murdered. That's a stark statistic. And then we get back to living in Jamaica as it is today. And I have real concerns that before we get on to the technical side of community intervention and real building communities, that we're not doing the basics. It seems acceptable that traders in downtown Kingston can just take over the pedestrian footway. They can hang their garments in front of other shops. It's at a situation where many people who would like to go downtown dare not go downtown because they're in fear. It is also that when I drive to Montego Bay, and as a friend of mine just wrote to me yesterday, he said he is more fearful of driving to Montego Bay than he is of gunmen in Denham Town and elsewhere. Because as you know, because you guys do it as well, every time you drive to Montego Bay, you take your life in your hands because you see the bad standard of driving. And that is a real threat, and life should not be like that. Yeah. The third point I make is something that I've been, let's say, tweeting about over the past couple of months, and it perhaps became even more ironic last week into this week, that, again, the basics. If you look at the so-called licensed taxis in this country, where there are very clear rules and regulations that say that the windows must not be tinted, that there shouldn't be any markings on those taxis, that they should abide by the law like the rest of us, obeying red lights, not cutting up on the outside, all of that stuff that you guys live with every single day of your lives and causes you all stress. And I believe that we have to start by dealing with that. Now, people say, well, how do you do a war on licensed taxi drivers and unlicensed taxi drivers? It should be not just the police responsibility, because we always take that short-sighted view, well, the police aren't doing their job properly, but there's a transport authority, there appears to be a very vocal representatives for taxi drivers who came out last week because they were upset about the amended Road Traffic Act, which of course is a good thing and is designed to actually bring us into line. So I feel that we can do a lot. We should be able to live in a normal society, and that means before we get to anything technical, we need to get those basics right. Not rely just on the police, but just take taxis as an example. There is no reason at all why the Transport Authority, the Jamaica Constabulary Force, the local authorities, those who represent the taxi drivers cannot get together and clear it up overnight, make it safe for us. We're lucky. Most of the people in this room, I bet, drive their own cars to and from work. We don't have to put up with some of the terrible situations that other people crammed into taxis and buses have to. So I think we also have a duty to them to try to improve things.
We are up on another break, but please stay with us. We'll be right back.
Crow Jamaica Risk Management Services, RMS. Risk management has become indispensable to a company's business operations and management strategy in this complex environment nowadays. Crow Jamaica risk management experts help to turn every risk into an opportunity. We are experienced in providing customized solutions to manage risks and increase transparency and accountability of the companies. Our core services include internal audit, internal control review, corporate governance, corporate compliance, etc. Our team can help you make smarter, more effective decisions. Let's have a conversation. Contact us at email people@crowjm.com. Website www.crowjm.com.
Have you seen it? It's BATV Live. Live streams of business news weekdays at 7:30 p.m. Stay on point Thursdays at 8 p.m. with our Business Current Affairs show, and Weekend Business Report Saturdays at 7:30 p.m. wherever you are. Log on to our Facebook page at Business Access TV or visit our website at batvja.com. Live and at your fingertips. Business Access TV. Serious about business.
Business current affairs you can relate to. Frank, credible discussion. On point, dissecting the issues. Offering solutions to Jamaica's challenges. On Point, Thursdays at 8 p.m. on Business Access TV.
Thanks for staying with us. Here are more highlights.
From where you sit, Mark Shields speaks much towards institutional strengthening. But I want to put to you the citizen having a responsibility as well, and how the citizen carries out that duty within the democracy. Do you see Jamaicans stepping up to call for the kind of order that Mark Shields is advocating for, or are we merely bystanders?
Let me say, if I use the PSOJ and its president as an example, we would say that we're not standing up. In February of this year, the president called rightly for an oversight committee to deal with crime and violence. Now it is November and we have not seen it. How many citizens, how many civil groups have supported that call is really inadequate.
We heard an announcement from the Prime Minister yesterday in New York saying that he's going to be setting up a commission on crime early in 2019.
Yeah, I heard it before that it was going to set up a summit.
Yes, we heard about the summit too.
Yeah, so it's not new. What I said on Sunday at a congregation in St. Thomas, and Mark Shields was mentioning 20,000 killed since he has been here. And I've been here a little longer than him. I said that if any year 500 persons were killed who are the brightest and best, influential leaders, we would find the resources and the time to make significant changes. In other words, because it's not affecting us so much, I live in a gated community. Some people have protective services, but anytime it starts to affect us greatly, we will do more.
This is where I'd love to bring you in, Richard Divins, because the question is, how much of a rights-based approach do we take in dealing with citizen security?
Well, this is something that the government has been starting doing in the last years, at least for a program that we have been supporting, which is the Poverty Reduction Program. And in a certain way, the fact that we are supporting the social inclusion of areas of here in Kingston and other areas in Jamaica, the fact that we are trying to promote a better economy in those areas, we are trying to promote the safety, the social cohesion. This is something which is very much related in improving the security in those areas. And in this respect, it is very important. It's very important when the government, or together with international donors, we are supporting the design of a citizen security program in the social aspect of the citizen security, the participation of the communities in the decision-making of the activities, of the project, of the initiatives is crucial. Without the participation of the civil society, without the participation of the communities, it's impossible to take ownership. We need the commitment of the people.
The question is, what are they committing to, especially when they already think that it's a sort of a one-man against the world situation, the rest of the society is against them. They are there ensconced in their own, enclaves, so to speak, thinking that they abide and apply their own rules. Here comes now social intervention, trying to change all of that. But how much will social intervention be influential to the process? What else is needed?
Social intervention will contribute a great deal. It has been contributing and it will continue to contribute. But by itself, of course, social intervention will not do everything. You speak of citizen security as effective crime management. Citizen Security and Justice Program is out of the Ministry of National Security, but it has a component that deals with the Ministry of Justice. When we look at social development, we have to speak of citizen security, yes, but we have to speak of justice. We have to speak of rights. As you know, Peter Tosh had said, he wants equal rights and justice. Don't give me no peace, I want equal rights and justice. And unless citizens see themselves as owning or owning a process of development, of inclusion, they will not feel as if, yes, it is for their benefit. Our experience has shown, and I'm sure JCIF and other agencies have shown, that residents of vulnerable communities wholeheartedly support and embrace social interventions when they are a part of the process. We deal with crime prevention. As you know, crime and violence is multifaceted. It has many different actors, many different players, many different sectors. We do not treat with crime control, or crime suppression, which we see as the work of the security forces. We think that crime prevention is critical to the development of Jamaica, to treating with crime and violence. And crime prevention starts before a child is born.
Yes.
And it goes way on into adulthood. We have not yet, and the chairman spoke about it, recognized fully the importance or the knowledge. We do not know how important crime prevention is, in that we have to treat with it in a sustained, multifaceted manner. In a nutshell, no ministry should get a budget passed each fiscal year without showing the country where in that budget is the allocation for activities to treat with crime prevention. Because it is so multifaceted, it touches on every sector. Every sector has a role to play. And let me repeat, no budget should be approved unless we can see where that sector, what that sector is doing. We welcome the idea of an oversight or a commission, because what we have observed is that the lack of collaboration among the sectors is one of the handicaps. It is something which causes waste, inefficiency, lack of adequate outcomes. And until the government can have a robust, very robust mechanism, institutional arrangement to ensure that there's collaboration between education, health, national security, all of these sectors working in their own way, but at the same time, designing together, implementing together, evaluating together. Until we get that, we will be groping in the dark to a large extent.
And that's it for coverage of the final PSOJ President's Breakfast Forum for 2018. I'm Javon Keys for Business Access TV, serious about business.
Your business matters. Business Access TV offers you the most innovative and effective advertising solution for your business, specializing in B2B sales, cost-effective solutions, the customers you want, the repetition you need. No matter the size and nature of your company, your business matters.
Call us at 876-291-6233 or 876-376-4225. Email sales@batvja.com.
Our collective histories are often captured on film, video, audio, or digital formats, and through these, we engage to learn about the past and to share our own histories with future generations. Today, we join other countries in observance of World Day for Audiovisual Heritage, under the theme, Engage the Past Through Sound and Images. Welcome to Jamaica Magazine. I am Theodore Henry. Stay tuned.
Water is precious. So we encourage everyone to practice the 4 R's of water conservation. Always remember to reduce your use of water wherever possible. Replace water wasting devices with water savings devices. Reuse water wherever possible. And wherever leaks are found, please repair them and repair them quickly.
Don't delay. Practice the 4 R's of water conservation today.
Music is an important part of our history, and it's through music that many of our stories have been told. Today we take you on a musical journey into the world of reggae.
From deep within the archives, on reels no longer supported by the platforms of a technological modernization in the transmission of sounds and images, comes the story of a people and their relationship with the music they have bred.
Reggae! Reggae! Reggae music is bass, brother.
Yes, sir.
Reggae music is roots.
Not the dread.
Yes, sir. It's our kind of music, that, brother. What me say?
If reggae can ever be edged to a set place, then 13 Brentford Road is its home. It was here at Studio One in 1968 that Rocksteady briefly went back 20 years, married the folk rhythms of Mento, and gave birth to reggae.
The new art form experienced its share of birthing pains as the so-called elites of society struggled to accept its revolutionary presence, while those from whose experiences it sprung cleaved onto this evolution in expression.
Reggae music is something that I think most of our people are ashamed of. I don't know why this should be, because it is coming from our roots.
So much people are naked like them shame. You agree? Truly? Sure, them just shame what truly belongs to them. What me say?
That's what we steal sometimes, do I?
Truly?
Well, I think that the rhythm is very good, and we like it a lot in Jamaica here.
As myself coming from New York, I only thought that I would dig soul music, just, you know, funky music. But as I hear the reggae scene, reggae music, I like it.
I like reggae music very much because, right, it shows a lot of culture, right? It tells from the plantation days, the type of music the people used to sing, right? And it sort of reveal what really was going on in that time, right? Up till now, right?
It's something you can't just sit down and listen to. You have, you know, you get the feeling to move.
Reggae music is our high-style music. Same way like how soul music belongs to stage, reggae music belongs to Jay. And my favorite artist are Bob Marley and the Wailers.
Probably because it's part of me, you know, and we create it, I don't know. But I think I enjoy playing reggae very much.
I really dig reggae music, but whenever time I hear reggae music, I feel like dancing, you know?
I'm in a dancing mood. Generations later, and the narrative retains echoes of past sentiments with the addition of new layers.
Reggae change, I can say like it changed a bit, you know, but still reggae beat. The old one is better, the new one not much to me. I just love the old stuff.
When I'm working, I listen to my music, keep me going, you know.
If me go dance on them music then I'm play, me not really stay there.
It means everything. It's a part of Jamaican's history, so it defines who we are as Jamaicans.
It means everything. It means love, it means peace, it means understanding.
Reggae is a lifestyle.
reggae is a lifestyle, you know, Jamaican lifestyle. Yeah, even the lifestyle where you live, because even they tell you in the farm, you know, they work hard every day, hustle hard every day, and the music says reggae. So, reggae is life, man, you know?
Reggae has become what some prophesied, a few decried, and almost none could truly imagine.
Reggae is no longer seen in the world as alternative music or third world music or new wave music.
It's doing good. I think a lot of guys who make a lot of money from it, but it is good. I think maybe probably next to tourism.
People know Jamaica not only for our sand, sun and beach, but they know us for our music. So when you go abroad and people be like, you're from Jamaica, you know Bob Marley, you know such and such, all because of our music. So reggae is our definition of Jamaica.
It is the strongest component in the brand Jamaica construct.
Reggae artists and those who specialize in its offshoot dancehall have won major musical awards. In life and past death, its greatest ambassador retains an undeniable international presence that has demanded respect from world-renowned publications. Since 2009, the entire month of February has been dedicated to its celebration at home. It was instrumental in garnering capital Kingston the designation by UNESCO as a creative city of music. And in 2017, the Jamaican government submitted a nomination dossier to have reggae inscribed on UNESCO's representative list of intangible cultural heritage for humanity.
This international protection instrument will ensure that the origins of reggae and its derivatives are appropriately documented and safeguarded for present and future generations. It is fascinating to reminisce on the early days when Jamaican music struggled to germinate, and the pioneers were classified in some cases as undesirables right here at home.
But even then, in its infancy,
well, I think that reggae is a good music, here to stay, and I think reggae music belongs to us, and we ought to show it, right?
And now,
reggae is hot commodity and the world has embraced it, but we are proud to declare that we still own it.
Respect must be given whenever respect is due. One more time, let's give it up for Jamaica and reggae music.
Criminal minds think they are cunning. The major organized crime and anti-corruption agency have them running. Your friend a shout, come here. Take time running, are we ready for the ops? Drive up on your block, step out now me black, cyber take about your laptop. Pull up every lock, no evidence to drop. We put it in a cuffs and now we have the underground. Sin you say scam, you better look out for. When you move corrupt, better look out for. Feel say you get wet, look out for. Look out for, look out for. From you say scam, you better look out for. When you move corrupt, better look out for. Feel say you get wet, look out for. Look out for, look out for.
The proceeding was brought to you by MOCA, the major organized crime and anti-corruption agency, with the kind support of NIA and USAID.
We know about Bob Marley and his influence on society with his music. In Trenchtown is where he recorded hit songs and created many musical memories. Today, the Trenchtown Culture Yard is a designated heritage site. I feel like I'm giving away too much information at this point, so just watch this.
Some call it the Hollywood of Jamaica, while others refer to it as the cradle of Jamaica's music. This place is packed with history, and lucky for you, we will be exploring some of it today.
This culture is a museum, you know, and it's a history of Trenchtown. It have a whole lot of legacy in it.
Yes. The Culture Yard, which is situated at Lower First Street in Trenchtown, is one of the many houses built by the Central Housing Authority between 1940 and 1949. These government houses were built on 200 acres of land and subdivided to facilitate a residential community to be called Trenchtown.
Trenchtown itself, it was named after a person, and the name of that person is Daniel Power Trench. Daniel was born in Jamaica. His mother was Jamaican, but his father was an Irishman. So Daniel's father came to the Caribbean, basically, to the business, and he met this woman. They got married and had 14 children, and there comes Daniel. Greenwich Park Estate Land, that was the name of the estate that was owned by Mr. Trench. And what had happened was, before Daniel died, you know, he was born in 1813, he died in 1884. He actually left that land, the estate land, to last his family at least 99 years. And what had happened was, there was a huge earthquake in 1907 that had destroyed the estate land beyond repair. So later on, the land became a squatter settlement. You had persons who started to squat on the land, and afterwards now you find where the government came in and had asked the family to sell the land to them. So it was sold to the government, and that's when the government now divided the land in different areas.
On the land, the government built 4 different blocks of houses, namely H, S, T, and U block. On the U block is the Trenchtown Culture Yard. People travel from near and far to learn about the phenomenal history of Trenchtown and the successful people and musical bands it has produced, such as the Heptones, Abyssinians, and the Wailers. Within these walls, visitors also get to observe furnishing and instruments used by the musical icons who once lived here, including the great Bob Marley and his mentor and co-writer, Vincent Tata Ford.
So Vincent Ford, this is all his writings on the wall. This is him. This is his furniture. This is his Bible.
It was in this space that the popular Bob Marley hit No Woman No Cry was penned. In this song, listeners are able to get a feel of some of his experiences while living here.
His first vehicle of what he owns, his first acoustic guitar, the single bed of what he sings about also is there. And there are many bits and pieces of Bob that is still here.
It's emotional. It's emotional.
After an emotional tour of the rooms and galleries, visitors get the chance to wander the courtyard, where they will find this fascinating statue of Bob. And this captivating mural of the culture tour. But the tour of the Culture Museum and Yard is just one of 3 tours available to visitors.
So normally we offer 3 different tours. The tour 1 is just inside the culture yard itself. You get a guided tour with one of our tour guides, and it's just a tour inside of the galleries. We offer a second tour. That tour takes you to where Bob Marley's mom lived when she came here in 1956 and Bob was only 11. So that house is basically not just Bob Marley's mother's house. That is also where Bunny Wailer lived. Because you know, Bunny Wailer and Bob Marley, they were stepbrothers and they share the same home. We also have different craft shops in the area where somehow persons can make their own money. So the guides would walk with you there. There's also Trenchtown Ceramics, where the persons, they make ceramics out of our own Trenchtown clay. And at the end of that, it stops at the recording studio that we have in Trenchtown called the Jamming Studio. So there, you know, persons know, the guests get an experience of how the rhythms are made.
It's evident that the Culture Yard is a must-see for anyone who wants to learn more about Bob, Jamaican music, and the phenomenal evolution of Trenchtown. It's no wonder the site was declared Jamaica's first inner-city heritage site. The venue opens every day, 9:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. on Mondays to Saturdays, and 10:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. on Sundays. To arrange your visit or guided tour, all you have to do is contact Tour Manager Sophia Doe at 876-859-6741.
Trust me, you don't want to miss out on this rich cultural experience.
Motorists, When driving on the road, here are some simple reminders. Look out for and extend courtesy to all road users. Give plenty of room to pedestrians, especially in wet weather. Drive slowly. No bother wet them up. Slow down when approaching a pedestrian crossing or school, and always be prepared to stop. Remember, a school zone is a 30-kilometer zone. Cut your speed. Drivers of large and slow-moving vehicles should always keep in the far left hand of a dual carriageway. Keep it simple. Drive left and pass right. These are just simple reminders of your road duties. Drive safely.
Over the years, the JIS has captured so much of Jamaica's history through the use of photos, videos, audio, and even print. It is your go-to place for all things Jamaican, especially historical places of interest to visit across the island.
It's one of the oldest parishes in the island that might have been originally named after Thomas Hickman Lord Windsor, the then governor of Jamaica in 1662. Seated in a right angle, bordered by the spellbinding St. Andrew on the west, the picturesque Portland on the north, and then gently washed by the waves of the Seine Caribbean Sea.
Bienvenido a St. Thomas.
Welcome to St. Thomas.
Full place. St. Thomas, we're there.
St. Thomas today now. Welcome to St. Thomas.
However you put it, we're there, St. Thomas. Join us on this travelogue. We'll be moving throughout the creases and corners of this beauty, turning the pages of our local history book, in which you will see the old Borden Wharf, Judgment Cliff, Roselle Waterfall, and other places. The cliff high above the Landaway community in St. Thomas at first glimpse appears to be just like any other overlooking the parish. But take a second look and you'll notice that a section of it is completely gone. Known as Judgment Cliff, it got its name from a story of how an entire community was wiped out during the 1692 earthquake. It's a story that passed through generations in the community and one that residents readily recount to passerbys like myself.
Judgment Cliff, I was informed that they used to have a plantation up there run by a serious, wicked slave master. Imposed draconian measures on the farmers, and one of the reasons why they resided on the cliff, that in case the slave wanted to run away, they would have difficulty in doing so. The place collapsed. I guess during the same time, Port Royal earthquake was taking place. That was 1692.
It was a plantation to people who lived there too. Everybody get covered out. Them say, when it happens at night, they say a man, a rooster, and a bull save. The man gone out, gone wild. The rooster fly off of the roost. The bull broke down the pen, gone out, gone wild, same like the man.
We're still set on traveling this allure, blessed indeed by the events of history. Right now, we're headed to a gem up the road on the corner. Tumbling over the rocks onto the roadside is an area known for its pristine waterfalls and fishes. The Roselle Waterfall is used for bathing and even for washing by residents or those passing by. It was once a busy area for commerce and entertainment prior to Hurricane Dean in 2007. But despite that, residents still enjoy the untouched water and how it seemingly removes all pains and ills. And from that water that falls, our next stop is a spot where the residents fish.
This fishing area named Little Beach, right? When the weather good, we go to sea and fish. When it's bad, we have to stay on the land. Well, we're doing this about some 50 years now, and we do it for a living. So I maintain the family. We have to prepare the net. We buy the net ready make, and we put on the fittings towards it. We put on the lead and the cork and so on. Like when you see it here, you know, we put it in the boat and go out and fish. We catch all type of fish. We catch snapper, we catch parrot, drum, barracuda, doctor fish, all type of different fishes. Sometimes tourists pass and them take pitch down all them kind of thing. And them like when they're knitting in it, sometimes they spend all the day with you. This is my daily living, and that's something that I enjoy all my life. I don't do nothing else work but fishing now.
Back in the days, over Bournemouth, they usually do export a lot of things over there. We even use our small canoe and go over there to fishing through the day. It's just across from the other side of the fishing village.
St. Thomas is a major growing area for food such as banana, coffee, coconut, sugarcane, and even for fishing. It houses one of the island's natural deep water harbors that was once used as a port for exporting these same food items. No, we couldn't come to St. Thomas and not mention anything about our national hero Paul Bogle or the popular Morant Bay Rebellion.
Yeah, the Morant Bay Rebellion took place at the Morant Bay Courthouse with Paul Bogle and his followers marching from Stonygut to Morant Bay.
Poverty and inequality in the society forced Paul Bogle to lead the protest march to this courthouse on October 11, 1865. In a violent confrontation with official forces, nearly 500 people were killed and more were flogged and punished before order was finally restored. On October 24, 1865, Paul Bogle was arrested and executed at this very same spot of land, the Morant Bay Courthouse. And just like that, we've ended our tour in this natural and material beauty, unfolding the stories behind just a few places. If you haven't been here already, then what are you waiting for?
Keep we island clean, so clean. From the peaks to the beach, so clean. No dirty up Jamaica, please don't do it. Keep we island clean, so clean. From the peaks to the beach, so clean. No dirty up Jamaica, please don't do it.
No dash no paper, no dash no plastic. Dispose your garbage responsibly. No know how to recycle, learn it quick. And if you drop it, better pick up every piece of it. Plastics last forever, don't forget the bits. Cause when them touch the street, them end up in the sea. Collect pan the reef where they fish them feed. And when you want to see, I eat your
Keep
eat.
we island clean, so clean. From the peaks to the beach, so clean. No dirty up Jamaica, please don't do it. No dirty up Jamaica, no dirty up Jamaica, no dirty up Jamaica, no dirty up Jamaica.
I was born here, and I was raised there. Resilient people, a tropical island.
Our people proud and strong. When we stand together, we're rising for better. Oh yeah. We're many but one. Together we will strive. When unity is our strength, we rise from our struggles. Oh yeah. So let's remind ourselves and tell the world hello. Hello. I'm a Jamaican. We are Jamaicans. Hello. Hello. I'm a Jamaican. Jamaicans, I really love you. We'll smile the way right through. We're third millennium. I really like you, forever love you. We are wonderfully great, but happiness at all. Now, tomorrow, forever. I really like you, forever love you. Jamaica, 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 Jamaica. So let's remind ourselves and tell the world hello. Hello. I'm a Jamaican.
Thanks for watching another edition of Jamaica Magazine. Join us again tomorrow when we'll do this all over again. Send your feedback on today's show to jamaicamagazine@jis.gov.jm. Also, follow us on our social media pages. That's Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Download our app on your Apple and Android devices, and you can also visit our website at jis.gov.jm for more information. On behalf of the entire production crew, I am Theodore Henry. Thanks for watching.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.
It's season 12, and Wealth Magazine Business Access is here to keep you business savvy. With an impressive mix of some of Jamaica's most inspiring business moguls, we continue to keep Jamaica informed, empowered, and ready to dominate. Tune in Sundays at 5 p.m. only on BATV.
You're watching
Business Access.
Business Access.
Business Access.
Business Access TV.
Serious about business.
You're watching Business Access TV.
Business Access. Business Access.
Business Access.
You are watching Business Access TV.
Business Access TV.
Serious about business.
Serious about business.
Welcome to BATV's coverage of the Masters of Cardiology under the theme Cardiovascular Care and Technologies in Low-Resource Environments. Hi, I'm Javon Keys, and we're here to bring you the highlights. Stay tuned. So tell us, what was the idea behind this weekend's conference?
Well, a large part of our mission is education of not only our doctors internally, but our community doctors, because as we're fond of saying, you know, cardiology is a team sport. So if we know everything there is to know about the heart, but the people who are referring patients into us don't, then patients are not getting the best possible care, or sometimes their care is being overlooked or symptoms are being missed. So we decided that having a conference, having a formalized approach to educating our community was in order.
So for the Caribbean generally, is heart disease something that we should be particularly concerned about?
Absolutely. I am fond of saying that if we put all other causes of death and disability in a box, so whether it be cancer or HIV or murders or slip and fall, car accidents, if you put all those causes that Jamaicans and people in the Caribbean die in a box, and then you put cardiovascular diseases in another box, you would not be able to fill the cardiovascular disease box with all of those causes combined. So when we're talking about cardiovascular diseases, we usually include diabetes in there because the lion's share of diabetics die from heart disease. So heart disease, stroke, and heart attacks or cardiovascular disease as a bundle kill more Jamaicans than all other causes of death and disability combined. So we really all should care about it.
You had some big names here. Tell us how that was and the reception that you've been getting from patrons about the kind of conversations that took place.
We organized a conference under the theme Masters of Cardiology. And what we wanted to do was really to get absolute masters, people who are adjudged by their peers to be among the best of the best. And so we've got chairmen and division heads from major academic institutions in the US. We have the chairman of medicine from the University of Pennsylvania, the chief of cardiology from the University of Pennsylvania. We have the chairman of cardiology from UCLA, and the list goes on.
It promises to be a very exciting conference. The learning never stops. The moment you stop learning, you're dead. Dr. Parmasek has been a great leader in medicine for many, many years. And he graciously accepted our invitation to headline this event with the opening keynote lecture, and I think that is going to be very, very revealing because everything we're able to accomplish in medicine has to do with the leadership that drives it. But sometimes, there are innate qualities in leadership, and there are some things that we have to learn along the way to accomplish that. And I'm looking forward excitedly to hear that lecture and other lectures to follow. Jamaica is a very beautiful island. It's one of the most beautiful places on earth, so some of you may not have time to explore the rest of Jamaica, but this should be an ongoing series of conferences we're gonna have. We're looking forward to robust collaborations with our partners that are here, and I think you will be hearing more of us. We'll be welcoming you all again here.
So we developed a multi-pronged program. We hired professional coaches for every one of the people on the leadership team for 1 or 2 years. And we developed a model to focus on what they wanted to accomplish as an individual, where they felt their needs were. Now, I was skeptical, I got to tell you, about this professional coaching. I didn't know what these people did. But as a number of people have pointed out to me, even professional tennis players still have a coach. If you can get people that have these skills, and there are organizations that teach these people, we found these professional coaching properly directed incredibly important. We started with a full-day immersion in terms of leadership and had a plenary speaker on that subject with many exercises. Then over the course of 2 years, we had, and I want to stress, interactive sessions. These were not just lectures on how to have a difficult conversations. They were simulations. They were exercises. There was peer-peer interactions in terms of getting people engaged. And we felt that this tripartite approach combined with readings, and I can again provide you with a list of the readings that we'd recommend, were what our faculty needed to develop their leadership skills. And again, this was our overall goal, to improve, move people to the right on that 9 box, improve their learning agility, because this touched everything. And ultimately, if we were going to lead change, we needed people that were agile, that could function in multiple domains and not just focus on one trait. And this is when we looked at the 9 box in terms of where our faculty started out. This is actually what it looked like. We had a number of people that, as you're facing it on the left, were really people that tended to focus on depth, going in depth to things. We had a few people that were actually focusing more on agility. Now, the truth of the matter is you don't want to be too far right or too far left. Some people are more detail-oriented, more focused-oriented. Some are more agile. But where you really want to be is somewhere balanced, somewhere in the middle. And so this was what our curriculum looked like. We first developed a cadre of coaches, and we did some matchmaking, knowing the skills of the coaches and the skills of our trainees. We had each of the division chiefs and each of the vice chairs and division administrators do a personal Via Edge personality survey. And that tells you your own personal style. Now, I was skeptical about that. I took it myself. But I have to tell you, I learned more about myself with this little tool, and I think it was dead on than I really fully ever appreciated about myself. And we used that to inform the coaches. The only people that saw this were the coaches and the trainees in terms of what they should focus on, in terms of the development of this leader in our department. And then we started the interactive sessions. We had a few rules. First of all, we wanted people to show up. Second of all, we said, what's said in this room stays in this room. But we knew people needed to expose themselves, their vulnerabilities in terms of what they needed to learn, and tell people stories about what things they had done that had worked, and also things that they had done when they had failed. We wanted our division chiefs and vice chairs to bring examples of both. We wanted people to keep all their scheduled coaching sessions. I think we insisted on about 10 hours of coaching over the course of a year. We said that nobody could send substitutes, and we basically invited our division administrators to selected sessions, primarily focused on the business and finance of the department.
I'm going to talk about resistant hypertension, new and emerging concepts. I'd like to thank Drs. Bao and Madhu and Ms. Lisa. They've done wonderful things organizing this particular conference. I bring you greetings from New Orleans, which is the most northern Caribbean city. So I understand being a little bit behind in time. But I have a lot that I want to cover, and it's related to an area which I think is important not only in the United States, but also throughout the Caribbean: high rates of hypertension, high rates of poorly controlled hypertension. Here are data from the United States. So this is non-Hispanic white, this is non-Hispanic black. And over the last several decades, you see cardiovascular disease mortality has been coming down. But what you may note are two things. One is, if you take those data out to 2014, you see a plateau. It's starting to slow down in terms of the decrease in mortality. And some of the newer data are suggesting there may even be an uptick in cardiovascular mortality as we have increase in obesity, diabetes, poorly controlled hypertension. The other thing I want you to show is, if you're looking at all cardiovascular disease, the top curve, the differences between blacks and whites in the United States, it's not even close. We're not talking about social science. This is dead bodies at the side of the road. Cardiovascular mortality comes earlier and higher in the black population when compared to the white population. Here are the rates of hypertension control. You can see we did well for several decades, but over the last several years, the rates of control are actually starting to decrease somewhat. Now, who has resistant hypertension, which is basically blood pressure that remains above goal despite being on 3 or more medications at maximally tolerated doses, and often that includes a calcium channel blocker, RAS blocking agent, and a diuretic. This is a paper that I published 2 years ago, And one of the markers for resistant hypertension is black race. Now, I'm not suggesting that this is genetically driven. Some of it's related to those disadvantaged status, health-seeking behavior, not having a primary source of care. And when the person presents to the hospital, the emergency room, the urgent clinic, they've already had years of poorly controlled hypertension. Living in the southeastern part of the United States, which is where much of the African diaspora came in to the United States, remains disadvantaged for resistant hypertension, excessive salt intake, and excessive alcohol intake. Alcohol raises the HDL. It has not been shown to be protective as we once thought, especially for men, 2 or more drinks. A woman, 1 or more drinks on a daily basis may actually cause an increase in hypertension.
We take a break now, but we'll be right back with more from the Masters of Cardiology.
I'm 36. I'm a husband, a manager, and still very good looking. In 2 hours, I have the most important meeting of my life. But first, it's time to play. The new Suzuki Vitara.
Have you seen it? It's BATV Live. Live streams of business news weekdays at 7:30 p.m. Stay on point Thursdays at 8 p.m. with our Business Current Affairs show and Weekend Business Report Saturdays at 7:30 p.m. wherever you are. Log on to our Facebook page at Business Access TV or visit our website at batvja.com. Live and at your fingertips. Business Access TV, serious about business. It's season 12, and Wealth Magazine Business Access is here to keep you business savvy. With an impressive mix of some of Jamaica's most inspiring business moguls, we continue to keep Jamaica informed, empowered, and ready to dominate. Tune in Sundays at 5 p.m. only on BATV.
You're watching
Business Access.
Business Access.
Business Access.
Business Access TV.
Serious about business.
Welcome back to Masters of Cardiology. Here's more. The Heart Institute of the Caribbean is the only one of its kind in the region, is it?
That's correct, in the English-speaking Caribbean.
And what kind of gap has it filled regarding the whole issue of cardiovascular diseases or issues in the region?
Hopefully, we're trying to play a role in helping to address the rising epidemic of cardiovascular diseases in Jamaica, specifically, and in the Caribbean in general. So with the Heart Institute of the Caribbean as the only freestanding cardiac center of excellence, and the HIC Heart Hospital as the only heart hospital in the English-speaking Caribbean, we have provided a platform, for individuals with cardiovascular disease to have one-stop shop where they can get acute treatment and ongoing management of chronic cardiovascular conditions.
And with that, there's no surprise that you would have had this conference, Masters of Cardiology, to tell us where that idea came from.
Well, one of the part of the mandate of the Heart Institute of the Caribbean is to continue to inform and educate and continue to learn. We believe that effective cardiovascular service delivery has to be a coordinated team effort to make sure that the various aspects of diagnosis, treatment, and ongoing management are properly covered. It's impossible to deliver good cardiovascular care as a one-man. It's not a one-man sport. It's a team sport. There are so many aspects of cardiology. One cardiologist cannot know everything. It's impossible. If you have any one cardiologist that tells you he can deal with everything, then I think you have to question the sincerity of that claim. One cardiologist can also not be on call are available 24/7, 365 days. As you know, cardiovascular disease can be fatal and can be quickly fatal, and acute heart attacks can occur without warning. And so if you have a solo cardiologist, running a center, then that will make it impossible. It puts patients' lives, at risk essentially, because that person may not be available when the heart attack, strikes. So that is the kind of information patients and doctors also may not be consciously aware of. And so intellectual exchanges, of best practices become very critical. And the work we do has, many ramifications. And our expertise also informs our approach. We have international collaborations. Our peers internationally recognize our competence and have respect for what we do, as we do what they do, the kind of respect we have for them. So it's shared values.
So why does virtual care matter? And we're defining here virtual care as care in which the doctor is not actually putting their hands on the patient. They are either interacting with them over the phone or video, or they're an expert who's reviewing a synthesis of that patient's records. Can virtual care really make a difference? Well, I would like to recognize Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. In 1966, he was speaking at a press conference in Chicago, and he said, of all the forms of inequality, injustice in healthcare is the most shocking and inhuman. So the work that all of us are doing that brings us here today is not only helping a patient here and there, but it's doing the right thing. It's combating injustices, injustice and inequality in access to medical care. What can virtual care accomplish? If I'm not here laying my hands on the patient, putting my stethoscope on the chest, can virtual care really make a difference? The answer is yes. So basically, Ashifa is a woman in her early 50s who had a lump in her neck, and she was diagnosed with metastatic squamous cell carcinoma. And she came to Best Doctors, which is the company I work for and has subsequently been acquired by Teladoc Health. To have, she lives in Calgary, but she wanted to have her case reviewed by top experts in head and neck cancer, top experts in pathology, to see if her treatment, her planned chemoradiation, was the right thing to do.
I had a lump on my neck, and what happened was we got a biopsy done and it was negative. There were no issues. But my family doctor said, it doesn't belong there and let's get it removed. About 10 days after that, I got a call, and it was my surgeon. The surgeon said, Ashifa, you need to clear your calendar. No appointments, nothing. Clear it for a few months. This is not going to be a fun treatment. You are going to be living a nightmare.
Ashifa's doctors were searching, doing multiple biopsies in her throat, her tongue, removing her tonsils to try to find where did that cancer originate, and they couldn't find it. The chemotherapy that's used to treat head and neck cancers is often uses what are called platinum-based agents, and those are very toxic. They're ones that cause a lot of side effects, a lot of nausea, are very difficult to go through. And then again, the radiation, instead of just having a focused field of radiation, they were really looking to irradiate a large area of Ashifa's head and neck, hoping to get the cancer wherever it originated because they couldn't find it.
And somewhere throughout that, all of a sudden, it hit me. I've got a Best Doctors policy, and I need to contact them.
At Best Doctors, we take very, very seriously the trust that people put in us. And we recognize that it is absolutely critical always to go to the primary source, always to use the primary data, because misdiagnosis can happen anywhere. So it's not enough to just take a pathology report on face value or a radiology report on face value. We always make sure to collect the primary data ourselves and have our experts review the pathology, have experts in the field reviewing the radiology scans, because that is something that really enables people to feel very confident that misdiagnosis, if it's there, has been identified and that their diagnosis is accurate. The treatment will be there to deliver optimal outcomes.
3 days before the treatment was supposed to start, we got the magic call from Best Doctors. It said, no cancer.
Multiple top pathologists all looking at our slides to confirm that in that lymph node, there was no cancer, that the diagnosis of metastatic cancer was wrong.
The end result is there was no cancer. There is no radiation. There is no chemo.
So, and what Ashifa ends up, what she has is Sjogren's disease, which caused some very, very funny looking lymphocytes to be in her lymph node, but it was not cancer. So, but why did Ernest invite me to speak here today? The reason is this, is that all of us are looking to improve the access of men and women and children to high quality medical care. And the potential of virtual care to be able to be a remarkable tool in this mission that we all are engaged in it's remarkable.
We're here today in Jamaica, and a lot of what we're talking about, I think the people as I sat down listening to all these talks, the folks at HIC have done a lot of these things already. And I think, maybe looking at the model that you guys have implemented, I know you've probably gone through some rough and tumble period in building this, because as my own experience is that it's not easy to accomplish what you've done. But I've had some unique experiences in Nigeria. This is where, we need to look at sustainable options. Nigeria is a unique country with about 186 million people in 2016, expected to become the 4th largest country in the world by 2050, with about almost 493 million people. And the GDP is 376 billion and is considered lower middle income. We've seen a similar graph for many low middle income countries similar to this in the course of this talk, where there's still a large percentage of the population that are young. And the healthcare system there is very fragmented. Like, as you see, there are 33,000 general hospitals, 20,000 primary care centers, and 59 teaching hospitals. But the healthcare is accessed by only 43% of the population. And that's a problem. And sometimes a lot of the drugs, they are substandard, they are imported from different parts of the world, some are manufactured locally. But so my role was to work with Heart Rhythm Society. I currently serve as ambassador for the Heart Rhythm Society to Africa, about how do we grow the practice of electrophysiology on the continent. And we started a few years ago just with some colleagues, where we first of all tried to define the magnitude of the need and some of the other things that we may be able to do. But a lot of the services currently is limited to implantation of devices. Some of the barriers we saw was the issue of infrastructure and the cost to the patient, as I mentioned before, and the lack of trust in the medical system by the patients, and also the issue of the fear between primary care doctors and cardiologists. I had that being that they feel they lose the patients to the cardiologists. We face the same issue that primary care doctors were afraid to refer to the cardiologists. Even we face the same issue in the United States. It's the same issue everywhere that they look. But the key is to train people that keep that patient alive first. That's how you can have a patient in the first place.
Stay with us. We'll be right back after these messages.
Ready for cable for as little as $100? Ready for no monthly cable bill? Ready for 10 TV channels absolutely free? Then pick up our Ready TV box at authorized stores for $4,500. Hook it up to your TV set, then top it up with Ready Credit for 1, 7, or 30 days. Buy now and get $1,000 free Ready Credit and start watching your favorite shows. Pick it up, hook it up, top it up. Ready TV. Prepaid cable TV when you're ready. Now serving Kingston and St. Catherine. Limited time offer while stocks last. Conditions apply.
The business community has suffered tremendously due to extortion. Some have not just lost their businesses, their jobs, but lost their lives. This is extremely impactful to the growth of our country and to the progress of our people. We are our brother's keeper. Let's put a stop to this. No more use of force. No more use of fear. No more extortion. No more.
They say it takes a village to raise a child, but the world will one day need the leadership of that child. The time you spend with your child matters. It stimulates their minds and shapes the way they act. Talk with your children. Help them to better understand the world around them and to value what is truly precious. Above all, the most valuable gift you can give them is love. Play, talk, teach, love. Take the time. It makes all the difference. A message from the Parenting Helpline and Ad Council Jamaica.
In case you're just joining us, we are at the Jamaica Pegasus for the Masters of Cardiology event. Stay tuned for more highlights.
When I was a single surgeon here, I would have to treat cases, cardiac cases, general thoracic cases, and there comes a point in time in that when you are the only surgeon, what do you do in relation to getting or training other youngsters to take over from your position? Because of this limited resources, we planned over a number of years to introduce the program, and we finally at the University of the West Indies introduced the DM in cardiothoracic surgery, which involved training. In the first 3 years, the members of this program were exposed to general surgery, and within that 3-year period, they had 6 months in cardiac surgery and 6 months in general thoracic surgery. Then they had the final 3 to 5 years was spent in being exposed purely to cardiac and general thoracic surgery. Now, of course, the opportunity to be exposed to these programs was limited by the number of patients that you operated on, and of course, the number of patients operated on was limited by the resources that were available to you. And fortunately, to increase the resources and the number of patients operated on, I was able to invite teams of surgeons, teams of cardiologists to visit at certain periods of time. We would investigate the patients, and we would do these cases, thus increasing the number available to our trainees. But of course, we felt that the numbers were not significant enough in Jamaica, and we arranged with our colleagues for these youngsters to be trained in facilities in other countries. Unfortunately, with this program, we have established the numbers of cardiothoracic surgeons in Jamaica now is approaching 7, and I will then hand over to our other members of the panel, because their information would increase our what we have available for our graduates.
In terms of GME training or residency training or fellowship training in low or medium resource environments, it's all about partnership. But let me say from the outside that this is not a one-way partnership. It goes in both directions. At Penn Medicine, we have some experience historically in starting a medical school in partnership with the University of Botswana. It's now in its 7th or 8th year. And I would say approximately 1/4 to 1/3 of our medicine residents at Penn actually spend time in Botswana getting a global health experience. And I'm absolutely convinced that we get as much out of this as hopefully they're gaining from our interactions with them. We also send faculty members and have an on-site director in Botswana. The point is, it's about a two-way partnership. We all can learn from each other. And I think that I'm very excited. Dr. Madhu has reached out to us about an interaction in cardiology. I was talking to Dr. Coppola, our chief of cardiology, about about sending both our trainees down here, our faculty down here, but also bringing trainees from Jamaica and the Heart Institute and the rest of Jamaica, for that matter, back to Penn for some training.
So I'm Carol Watson. I run the Cardiology Fellowship at UCLA. And I can tell you, when I took over the fellowship 5 years ago, we sort of reimagined the whole thing. And one of the key principles we put in there was that the world is flat and cardiology is global. So one of the things that was never a part of our fellowship before was a global experience. Since then, we have a elective rotation in Malawi. And again, most of our internal medicine residents go to Malawi, and now some of our cardiology fellowships. We have an ongoing collaboration in Malawi where when we first went over there, we got a grant to take over 3 echo machines. And with that, we were able to quadruple the number of echo machines they had in Malawi. So they now have 4, and we have an ongoing collaboration where they we trained physicians there to read echoes, and honestly, they read echoes better than some of our echocardiographers now, and they send studies back and forth. And so that's been a really fruitful collaboration. We also now have an elective in China. We have a affiliated hospital that we send fellows back and forth with. We have a quarterly Trans-Pacific Cath conference where we take turns. They present a case, we present a case, and it's so interesting hearing how similar the patients are and how similar the procedures are, but then also how different the approach is. And so many of the approaches make a lot more sense. So we're getting as much as they're getting, I agree with you. Making sure we can offer as much as we take is important. And I will be talking to Dr. Madhu about initiating some kind of partnership with his institution, because again, what we take away and what we give, I think, is so important to our trainees, and there is no way you can train a cardiovascular specialist for the future without understanding the global landscape.
Walter Clare from Vanderbilt, and actually mine is more of a focus on the undergraduate medical educational aspects of global health and in under-resourced areas. So quite frankly, at Vanderbilt, we do not have formal active relationships in global health for our students, but we have a strong program in coordination with our program in public health that allows our students to have a global health experience. They do various exchanges. But in fact, at Vanderbilt, we find ourselves a well-resourced, highly technically oriented academic medical center in the midst of what we call the cardiovascular disease belt of the southeastern United States. And so to some large extent, our experience with under-resourced areas has to do with working with the rural communities in not only Tennessee, but southern Kentucky and northern Alabama. And what we basically have done at the medical student level is to get our students involved in those types of activities, as well as our own medical student clinic, which a lot of universities around the United States are doing now. A little bit of the uniqueness of ours is that we have a collaborative relationship with Meharry, one of our historically black medical schools in Nashville, and we have what we call the Vanderbilt Meharry Alliance. So we do a lot of population health with them. But what I really want to talk to you about for a moment is the fact that we have indeed, with all due respect to what's going on at UPenn and leadership, been focused on this issue of leadership at the undergraduate medical level with our students. About a decade ago, we developed a program in health and wellness for our medical students. And it started out primarily as an activity that involved extracurricular events. And then about 8 years ago, it transitioned, just about a year before I started working with the program, to incorporating narrative writing, mindfulness, public policy, leadership and conflict management into a curriculum for all of our entering medical students. At Vanderbilt, we've divided our medical school into 4 colleges. Each of the 4 colleges has a couple of mentors. I'm one of the 2 mentors for my college, Chapman College. And so when the medical students enter our school, they're assigned to a college. It's not strictly at random. And they stay in that college until they graduate. And that includes the MD, PhD students. So I have some students who've been with us 7 years. And over the course of those 7 years, we start out with that curriculum, which involves 43-hour sessions during their first year and multiple sessions throughout the remainder of their medical school curriculum. And we do almost everything that you saw in that slide about leadership development in some form or fashion with our students. It's really an introductory level for them. And it's interesting that I've served on visiting committees to a number of other medical schools. One in particular I visited recently, and they had worked in collaboration with us to change their curriculum. And I was unpleasantly surprised to learn that much of the stuff on emotional intelligence and conflict management was not included in their curriculum. And when we evaluated them and we talked to their faculty about the problems they were having with the new change in their curriculum and the relationships that were not going well among their students as they worked in the classrooms, they admitted that they'd missed the ball on that, and that in fact they had to abruptly stop the curriculum, put it in recess for a bit, and go back and teach the students how to interact with each other. Because most of our medical students are in medical school because they have been highly successful individual learners. They have not necessarily learned how to work in teams, and that's where we find most of the conflict.
We now take our final break, but please don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Business current affairs you can relate to. Frank, credible discussion. On point, dissecting the issues. Offering solutions to Jamaica's challenges. On Point, Thursdays at 8 p.m. on Business Access TV.
The Good Life, your trusted source for useful health and wellness information, lifestyle tips for the mind, body, and soul. Tune in Tuesdays at 8:30 p.m. on Business Access TV.
Welcome back to our coverage of the Masters of Cardiology event here at the Jamaica Pegasus. Here are more highlights. How did you feel when you got the invite to come to this conference?
I think I was very privileged and honored. I was also, I think, just thrilled at the fact that a conference like this exists. I'm an academic cardiologist, and I go to many conferences, I participate in many endeavors, but not all of them, I think, are, as focused on issues which affect many of us, but not everyone rises to the occasion to try to address it.
For persons watching, what are some of the recommendations you may have to the average viewer about ensuring that they are up to date regarding their cardiovascular health?
So I think one of the important things is doctors are your friends, okay? We talk about a healthy lifestyle, and in general, I think many people, maybe they are aware of it, but I think a lot of people know about the importance of keeping their weight under control. If you have too much weight, you need to lose weight. Even if you are the right weight, everybody needs to exercise, and again, diet, avoiding bad habits like smoking. So there are a lot of those things. But then to also know that there are diseases which can come on which you won't know. You don't know or feel when your blood pressure goes up. You don't know or feel when your blood sugar goes up, when your cholesterol goes up. So there are many things which are hard for you to know, but they can affect you long term. And so don't be afraid of doctors. I know that there are many thoughts about doctors, what they do, what will they do, but we've learned, especially I think in other countries, that preventing disease is the most powerful thing you can do. And as I've said, some of these are invisible things. So I think everyone should, as part of what they do, at least every 1 or 2 years, in a healthy person, at least see your primary care doctor who can screen you. And if they, discover something that needs a cardiologist, we're more, for people who have more disease, then you will get referred to us. But at least make sure you're seeing a primary care physician on a regular basis.
So what was your discussion based on today? What was your topic?
It was a lot of topics today about educational topic and real problem for training physicians here in Jamaica, and on other topics about the healthcare system in Jamaica and how to provide the best healthcare for all the patients in here. A lot of technical topics about the cardiology and the advances, the new advances in cardiology in the time being, and how can we deliver and conduct this advances to Jamaica for the time being.
What was your main takeaway from the event, the conference overall?
Yes, sure. Those conferences we are making to provide a real impact on the society after that. So it's not kind of meeting people, it's kind of re-innovation of the system and the renovation of all the, and revising how we are doing things. So today we had this opportunity to meet all the pioneers. This first time that this conference happening in Jamaica, and I hope that it will run every year to see all those brilliant guys over there, over here more time.
So tell us your view on this conference.
This was a very, very, very well-run, very educational conference. I'm impressed by the lineup of the masters of cardiology, the wealth of experience they brought to the meeting, and then the overall focus on cardiology management in our setting, our resource board setting. Most of the presentations, even though we discussed fairly, cutting-edge topics, everything was brought back around to how does it impact the Caribbean people. So I thought it was a very good conference.
What was your topic or topics of focus?
My topic was on women and heart disease and special considerations for Caribbean women.
And that discussion is important because we find that more women in the Caribbean are prone to heart-related diseases. Is that correct?
It is correct. So ischemic heart disease is the #1 cause of death in most of the countries of the Caribbean, and even in Jamaica, where diabetes is said to be the #1 cause of death, that death is mediated through cardiovascular disease. So one of the issues with women is and not just women, but their providers, et cetera, and the public, people tend to think about breast cancer and other gynecological cancers as being their #1 problem. And yes, early on in the reproductive years, that is an issue. But as you get older, cardiovascular disease takes over as the #1 healthcare issue. And when you look at a population as a whole, cardiovascular disease ends up being the leading cause of morbidity and mortality. So when we talk about women and heart disease, it starts from education of the public, public perceptions on women's risk for heart disease, and trying to twist that in people's minds. Even in the primary care setting, a lot of primary care providers don't consider cardiovascular disease risk when they're seeing their patients. They think about doing the pap smears and the mammograms and all of that, but especially as the woman starts to age in their late 40s and 50s, then they need to, that conversation has to be had.
Dr. Capola, tell us about the discussion that you had today. What was your topic?
We had a very interesting discussion today as part of a session on how to have care collaborations between centers in other areas and the Heart Institute of the Caribbean. And it was a real privilege to think it through. So at my institution, we have 144 cardiologists who all have different expertise. And we discussed how that's a great platform to choose the right people and to find out who wishes to come here and collaborate in care, in training, and in research, and in reciprocally, how to engage HIC and have them visit us. One of the obvious conclusions we came to was that we need to establish a video link. What we can do to have shared care for complex cardiac problems is work together using technology via the internet to review the case, review the images around the case, and help make decisions. That's an obvious first step, and I think it's never been easier to do that. We actually do it with regional hospitals close to Philadelphia, so there's no reason why we couldn't do it here. It's just a matter of setting it up. So that will be the first step, I'd say.
So how important would you say is the kind of exchange like that for not just necessarily cardiology, but medicine in general?
Exchange is essential. I think that if you remain in a silo, if you remain just seeing what you see and treating conditions the way people around you treat them, your scope is limited. And I've been at different centers at different parts of my career. One of the first things you learn is when you go to that new place is what's universally true and what's just sort of local practice that other people have strong feelings about. That becomes very apparent. So that's a benefit to all involved in the exchange. I think it's essential.
So from today's event, what was your biggest takeaway?
My biggest takeaway is that it all boils down to relationships and true desire to collaborate and exchange. And I think Dr. Ernest Madu has done an amazing job at building relationships, and that will be the key. That will be the key. So that's my take home.
What's one of the most important conversations you think that needs to be had with regards to Caribbean heart health?
I think one of the most important things is knowledge and trust. So I was talking to Dr. Madu, and he actually on the way up showed me an electrocardiogram on his phone from someone who is having a heart attack. People need to understand that a heart attack is an emergency, and no questions asked. You need to get to a center like HIC that can open your artery, and if you don't, you might not make it. So I think there's a lot of education that people need to understand. They also need to understand that you have to collaborate. So I've noticed that there are different cardiovascular and medical programs in the country. And I'm a friend of mine, Dr. Michael Boyne, is at the University of West Indies. And I think there's lots of expertise that can be brought together here for the benefit of people. So getting out of the silos, collaborating is probably one of the most important things.
So tell us about the topic that you spoke on today.
Today I talked about sleep and cardiovascular disease. And I like to think of it as the sleeper in heart disease because many people know of all the traditional risk factors for heart disease: high blood pressure, diabetes, high cholesterol, being active. But not many people are aware how important it is to have enough sleep. And also, that's number one. And secondly, that there are some sleep disorders, such as sleep breathing disorders, obstructive sleep apnea, that can, if not treated, can cause other cardiovascular diseases.
as it relates to heart treatment generally, and I'm sure you've probably looked at the Caribbean as a whole and some of the issues that may impact Caribbean citizens or black people generally, what are some of the recommendations you may have for the average citizen to take care of their cardiovascular health?
Okay. The first thing I always like to say is definitely know your numbers. You need to know what your blood pressure is. Basics. If you go to the doctor, don't just leave, oh, I had a visit today with a doctor. What was your blood pressure? What was your weight? If the doctor did blood tests, what are the results? What's my cholesterol? What's the good? What's the bad? Know all these numbers for yourself. Based on your weight, are you in line with what it should be? Are you overweight? So take control of your health by knowing all these numbers first. So after you know your numbers, if any of the numbers are out of line, if your blood pressure is too high, definitely seek treatment right away. And a lot of times in the Caribbean, and I hear this often, people say, well, my blood pressure is controlled, so I don't need to take the medication. No, it is controlled because you're taking the medication, so you need to continue taking the medication. And I have problems with relatives of mine. I say, well, are you taking this? They say, well, the prescription ran out. Well, although it ran out, it means you need to continue taking it. So little things like this, I think it's very important.
That concludes our coverage of the Masters of Cardiology event put on by the Heart Institute of the Caribbean in conjunction with the Association of Black Cardiologists. I'm Javon Keys for Business Access TV, serious about business.
I do have a dream, and I know you have a dream, that we can make Jamaica the place of choice for you to choose to live, to work, to do business.
We are going for the Jamaica we want. Making steady progress to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals in our National Development Plan, Vision 2030 Jamaica. We have teamed up with valued partners, working through strong institutions to reduce inequalities in our society. We commit to being responsible in our production and consumption, ensuring we build sustainable communities in harmony with nature. Jamaica is making significant strides in providing quality, lifelong education for all, enabling our people to be engaged in decent work to drive economic growth, equipping men and women with the skills to build resilient infrastructure, promote sustainable industry, foster innovation, and utilize new technologies. Urgent action is being taken to manage natural resources responsibly, protecting clean water sources, ensuring access to water and sanitation for all, diversifying to alternative energy sources, conserving our environment and sustaining life below water and on land. Jamaica is making moves to ensure healthy lifestyles for the well-being of our people. We're promoting sustainable agriculture to achieve food security, improve nutrition, and end extreme hunger, putting in the work to end poverty in all its forms. We're on track in achieving our Sustainable Development Goals through realizing our Vision 2030 Jamaica. We will leave no one behind.
And I'm chilling right now, cause we're winning right now.
I wanted to be an educator because I believe that education is the most powerful weapon that can change the world.
My dreams and aspiration is to one day become an entrepreneur where I can employ other persons and help to build the country.
I wanted to go into development. I wanted to help people become better versions of themselves. Growing up, I saw a lot of violence, I saw a lot of crime, I saw a lot of poverty. The challenges are so many. The first one that comes to mind is the level of youth unemployment that's here.
Challenges that exist here in West Prospect Bogwalk are lack of awareness for educational opportunities or job opportunities.
Not many got a chance to do CXC or graduate from the secondary level. So that's a major setback for the people living in the community.
A way to alleviate this issue is training programs.
They need more opportunities, like to go back to school to get themselves a certificate so they can be able to work and create employment for themselves and their family.
Push more entrepreneurship opportunity, encourage these youths to be creative and innovative in what they do. Give them startup capital to start their business. Invest more in the youth skills and talents.
The Poverty Reduction Program is funded by the European Union, and it really is a program that focuses on the most vulnerable type of communities, making communities safer, making citizens more healthy, better access to education.
For European Union, investing in youth is an obvious choice. They are the future of the country. If we prepare them well, they will bring the change that Jamaica needs. That's why we invest in scholarships, internship, training in life skills and mentorship.
I received a tertiary scholarship from PRP to attend the University of Technology, Jamaica. It meant a lot to me because I realized that somebody else believed in me and somebody saw the potential that I have and somebody believed that I could actually achieve my goal.
I benefited by getting firstly an internship, and also they assisted my bachelor's degree financially. But critically, outside of the finances, the persons that were on the project, you know, the motivation that they provided, etc., it really provided a huge boost.
This is my third year at the MICO. This scholarship, it helped me to be able to focus only on my education here, because tertiary education is not cheap.
I was placed at ODPEM on the one-year internship program. It was really good. It was an opportunity for me to prove myself, to give myself a service, and also to gain experience in the working world, and to also provide for my family.
I plan to be an agent of change in my community by being a mentor, a leader, and a godfather for the youths growing up. Try to help them teach them a trade.
You don't have to be rich to help. You don't have to achieve greatness to start. I contributed to my basic school by providing them with the necessary resources that they need, that I believe that in the long run, it will have a ripple effect on many, many persons.
Professionally, I manage the whole program, which is aimed at giving young persons the opportunity to, you know, do what I did, basically, to get their foot inside an organization. Additionally, I also have a little small business that I try to employ young persons to learn a skill, etc.
When you're persistent in life, when you're determined, when you're hungry for success, then you'll be able to accomplish and achieve anything that you want.
It has changed hundreds and hundreds of lives. Not just my life, my family lives, my friends' lives, etc. I want to just urge everyone looking on to continue these social programs. These are the solutions to the many ills that we face as a society and as a country and even as a world. So thank you, and I challenge you, continue it. It's needed.
Peaches Rodney Henry, the owner of Henry's Delight in Mandeville. Henry's Delight started with a dream, as do most businesses. Well, I got the vision that I was supposed to do something in foods. Of course, I was a bit discouraged because my husband did not like that dream. But by talking to friends and with the advice from friends and the encouragement, I decided that I would go ahead and start this business. I started February of 2015. So this will be 2 years since the business has been started. At the moment, Henry's Delight manufacture breadfruit chips, plantain chips, banana chips, and Irish potato chips. And of course, this is just the start. I plan to take it to other levels by doing chips from basically any food that can make chips. I cater to children and any persons who are interested in healthy snack because I do not use no preservative or additives. So basically I cater to all income earning persons, especially those who are health conscious. Henry's Delight started with funding from my own personal funds. However, when I decided to do a bit more by getting bags that looks more attractive and stuff like that, I decided to take a loan from the bank. I did not have any problem getting the loan. I basically was introduced to it from the bank, so I went and capitalized on it. It wasn't much, but at least it helps in getting the bags that they are currently in done. At first, they were just plain bags, and then I used to do the labels separate. But now everything is in one. So that's the fund I use to do the packaging. The money was used to get material for setting up a kitchen counter. Then after setting up the kitchen counter, because the space that I used was not really for that purpose, it was something else that was being used for. So I had to put in a counter, and then I had to get a machine. And first I need to let you know that everything is done manually. So I had to get a machine to slice the raw material, the breadfruit, the banana, Irish potato, plantain. So I have to get a machine to slice, to do all of that. Then after doing that, then I have to get, of course, my scale to weigh, make sure that I have the right amount of gram in each package. And I have to get my sealer to seal the package, make sure that the contents or the product in it are secured. And not that when it goes on the shelf, it maintains the shelf life as stated. And I need to let you know that the shelf life is just 2 months because I don't use any preservative. So it's a short shelf life. So I have to make sure that I have the sealer to seal it properly. And of course, there are other little stuff that I had to get to do all of this. So that's basically what the funding was used for initially. Well, as you know, when you just start a business, you're not going to see profit right away. And then because it is done on a small scale, because at the moment I only supply the chips in Mandeville. So I have to have the amount, the quantity, in order to really start see profit. But I see where I can make money from this as I continue to expand. But at the moment, there's not really a profit from it. But the potential of making a profit is there. In terms of location, well, I decided to operate from home because I know if I was to go and rent somewhere, it would have been very costly, very expensive. So in order to cut back on that expense, and since I have the space here at home, then I decided to utilize the space that I have. So that was one of the ways of cutting back on the expense. Now, I actually go out and supply the chips or the product to the customers out there. So I supply like schools, Mayday High School, I supply NCU, and of course NCU, I mean, my chips doesn't stay there. The students really love the chips there. So big up to the students at NCU and Mayday High School. So those are 2 schools that I supply at the moment, and then mostly pharmacies, Fontana, Body and Soul, 3 Angels, James, and most of the pharmacies in Mandeville, and a few other persons, like hairdresser and stuff like that. To find persons to work with me, if there's someone that I know that is not working, I would ask the person and the person would come. Also, I advertise for workers in Central Times, where I get good feedback from, and we have friends who recommend others, so it's not so much of a challenge to get workers. However, sometimes I have a challenge when I train them to keep them, because sometimes, most of the times, they probably find jobs in areas that they were trained in, because some of them are hard trainees and in other skill areas. So when they come and I train them, sometimes they will get job in the areas that they were trained in, and so they will leave and go to that area that specialty. So, you know, that's where my challenge lies sometimes, when I train them and they have to go. At the moment, it's a small business, so I just have one full-time, including myself, that currently work in this establishment. Well, this uses for the batch code and the expiry date. Top one is the batch code, so I just press that and just stick it onto the bag. A typical day depends on the raw material that I have. So if I'm doing plantain today and I have a large amount of plantain, then I know I don't want the product to ripe or to spoil or whatever. So I'll get up early in the morning, say for example 7 o'clock, and start production. And most times I do not stop until it is finished. And of course, so there is no, well, of course the worker would have like 8 hours, but for me, I'll go until I'm tired. Or sometimes when I'm tired, I still continue, because I need to get, if I have order, I need to get it off. And if I have the raw material, I need to get it out of the way so that the goods does not spoil. Of course, as I told you before, everything is done manually. So after washing the food, then you have to peel it, you have to slice it, and you have to season it, fry it, pack it. Well, packaging is not normally done the same day, because I give it enough time to, if there's any oil, I need to make sure it's drained, and so that when it is packaged, there is no grease on the product, so persons can enjoy it. So it's really a full day whenever I have anything to do, when I have product to manufacture. Being an entrepreneur will affect your life in some way, because you don't have a 8-hour job. You have to work until you get what you want to get done. So it's going to take, and especially in the beginning, the initial state, when you want to get the business on its feet, so that so it can grow. So it will take away some of your family time, because there's times when you have to work extra hours. Maybe you might have to put in an extra day instead of a Monday to Friday. You have to put in another day, and well, in the beginning, I'm the one that basically takes the children to school and go and pick them up. So it affects the way how I do things a bit. And but however, it is something that I enjoy. So I find pleasure doing what I'm doing, along with being an entrepreneur.
It's Island Hour, it's Island Hour, it's Island Hour, free eye test. It's Island Hour, it's Island Hour, it's Island Hour, free eye test.
Free eye testing is back and it's here to stay. Island Eyewear offers free eye testing every day, all day at all locations island-wide. Conditions apply. Make your appointment today at www.islandeyewear.com or call us 630-1180. Island Eyewear, your style, your price.
It's Island Hour, free eye test.
I think I mentioned a little of it before. Henry's Delight. I don't use any preservative or no additives in the product that I make. So it's more focused on the persons who are health conscious, and I know that persons are leaning in that direction now, where they are trying to cut out the excess preservative and additives in the food that they eat. So Henry's Delight, you can snack on it at any time, anywhere, anyhow. So it is unique in that light. No preservatives, no additives. And as I said, that's why the shelf life is just 2 months. New ideas are generated when I'm sleeping. That's when everything just come back. And there are times, at times, sometimes I just jump out of my bed and I start to write because of ideas that pop into my head while I'm there sleeping. So I always have something new. So as I said, Henry's Delight is not going to stop at banana, plantain, breadfruit, and Irish potato. Henry's Delight is going to do sweet potato, but I actually started with dasheen because I had dasheen on the market when I just started, but because of the unavailability of raw material, then I could not continue with it. So basically, any food that you can think of that can make chips, Henry's Delight is going to do that. And come next year, I'm sure that you're going to see a lot and hear a lot about Henry's Delight. First, in building a successful customer base, well, I am the one that actually go and deliver the chips to my customer. So the customer know the owner and basically know the manufacturer. So most times if something is not going well, I'm the one that get the feedback. So I get the direct feedback from the customer. So if the customer don't like this, then I know that is what the customer don't like. So I will try to improve it the next time. So to always maintain my customers. So I have that one-on-one, that personal relationship with my customers. Now, when I just started my business 2 years ago, I had my mother and my husband with me. They used to assist me in preparing the chips. For example, they may assist me in peeling, washing the food or whatever. Now I've lost both of them. In the space of 5 months, I lost my mother and I lost my husband. So that has been a big challenge and a big setback on my business. And at one point, it's everything like slowed down because of such great loss that I had. But I'm trying to overcome it as I go along. So that has really been a big setback for me. I'm trying to overcome this setback by trying to keep positive, trying to focus. Now I think of what would my husband want of this if he was alive, and so I try to focus on it and I try to work towards that goal. And also prayers, of course, you cannot beat prayers, and I know there are persons there who are praying for me, and I can feel that strength and that comfort that I receive from the God that I serve. So basically those are my strong points in terms of overcoming my loss. When I just start there are some times when I don't get the chips perfect as I would like to get it. Sometimes it comes out a little bit greasy, even though I'm doing what I used to do, and I can't figure out why. So it comes out sometimes the way how it is not supposed to come out. But well, as I said, I enjoy doing it. I enjoy what I'm doing. So I don't stop until when I get it the right way. And I think I have overcome that. I think I have mastered that now. So basically, I'm getting it done the way how it is supposed to be done. I try to prevent mistake by sticking to what works. So I know that to get it, the chip comes out a certain way, I have to do it this way. So I try to do it this way so it does not come out that way. So that's what that helps to overcome whatever mistake made or whatever damages control to be taken care of. That's what I do. Goal strategies that I have in place to always come up with new ideas. Always try to be ahead of my competitors because of course I know that there are many competitors out there. So I always try to be ahead of them. And that comes back in my dream. As I said about, we talk about new ideas. When I go to bed and I think about Henry's Delight and the new ideas that pop up in my head, because there are many other ideas, of course, that I cannot share at this point. So I always try to innovate something new so that I am ahead of those competitors that I have out there. I guess many persons will know that I was a contestant on the Innovator show. I did not go, when I was asked if I want to go on it, I think twice, but then I said, I'm not going on it to win a competition. I'm going on it to market my business because this is a way, this is an avenue that people can know about Henry's Delight. So I grabbed that opportunity to use the Innovator show to market Henry's Delight. No, by being on the Innovator show, I've been exposed to other programs. I was also on Smile Jamaica one morning, and this is as a result of the Innovator show. Now, I'm also on Business Access TV. I also assume that this is a result of the Innovator show. So, I mean, these are methods that I have used to market my business. I've been at Expo 2016. That was also another method. There's an overseas person that I'm supposed to be meeting with to discuss ways of how I can get banana chips in England. So, and there are other places that other persons have invited me to other shows so that people can taste the chips and know about the chips. So basically, I have been marketing the products in any opportunity that I can get to market it. I use it to market it. And also, when person tastes it, I mean, word to mouth, that's one of the best marketing in terms of persons try your product and it tastes good. They will tell this other person, or sometimes they'll call me and say, "Wow, I buy your banana chips, or I buy your breadfruit chips, or whatever chip it is, and it tastes good. I would like to sell it. How can I get it to sell?" So, I mean, those are many ways that the product has been marketed. Social media is also one of my marketing strategy. I'm on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. So those are also some of the marketing strategies that I use. When we were growing up as children, you heard that the sky is the limit. Of course, it is the same thing for Henry's Delight. I am hoping soon, as I said before, there's somebody in the overseas market that is interested, and that is where I intend to take Henry's Delight, to the diaspora, right? So there is no limits as it relates to where Henry's Delight is going to go. There is always a formula in doing things. So to become a successful entrepreneur, it's no exception. There is a formula to be successful. Because you can't just sit down and fold your hands. You have to work hard to be successful. Success comes in many different ways. For me, success is when I can put God first and allow Him to lead me and to direct me into the path that I am to take. And when I do that, wherever He leads me and I follow, that is success. Because whatever he does, I know it's going to be the right thing. So success for me is not just making money. Success for me is to be able to help people who are in need. Success for me is to be able to give back to my community, to give back to my country, and to not just think of myself, family, but to help others. That is success for me. My greatest fear right now is natural disaster. Natural disaster because my business depends on the raw material. And if there's a hurricane, I know that banana will be destroyed, plantain will be destroyed, breadfruit will be destroyed, all of these things will be destroyed. So then my business is basically closed down because there will be nothing for me to manufacture. So that's my greatest fear. Now, how to overcome it, I really don't know how I can overcome natural disaster because this is an act of God. Well, so far, whenever we are threatened by a hurricane, we go down and we pray. So I guess that is the only thing that I can do, to continue praying that the Lord will not send us anything of that sort, of that nature. But if He decides to do it, then I can do nothing but to just accept it. I'm motivated because I always want to be an entrepreneur. That's what motivates me. And more so, as I said before, I enjoy doing what I am doing. And when I know I can manufacture something and persons enjoy it, because I used to teach before, and just as I like to see when my students succeed, when they do well, it's the same way when somebody buy the chips and I say, wow, I enjoy this chip. It makes me feel good to know that I can manufacture something that somebody actually enjoys. And the fact that I can make a difference in terms of the product that I manufacture, it encourages me and it motivates me to continue. Who has been my greatest inspiration since I started? The person who encouraged me to start the business, which is Mr. Anderson. Because as I said before, I was discouraged because my husband believed that this is not something that I can handle. It is too much for me. So I was demotivated because, as I said, this is a dream that I got that I should do. And normally when I get something from the Lord, when I get an instruction or direction from the Lord, I always like to do it. And when I was told that this is not something I can handle, I was a bit demotivated. Having spoken to Mr. Anderson, and he said, oh, you can do it, man, because this is something that he's also doing. And he said, you can do it and you can benefit from it because there's money that you can make from it. So, and he also promised that he would take me through the process, which he did. So I was not left alone. He took me through the process, and along the way, he guided me. And so I was motivated when I was able to put the product out there and people enjoy it. And I actually decided to continue doing this. So I'm really happy. And as I said, and I will keep saying it, that I enjoy doing what I'm doing. Well, my favorite aspect of being an entrepreneur is that I do not have a 8 to 4 or 9 to 5 job. My time is flexible. I'm not restricted by anyone. And of course, I'm hoping that one day I will be the next Bill Gates. So it's nice being an entrepreneur. I attribute my success to my dependence on God. He's my source of strength, and I will keep saying it because I don't do anything unless I pray and I ask for guidance. And when He leads, when he tells me to do something, I go ahead and do it. And so I commit myself to this, and I believe that's what helps me to be successful. I put everything into it, and I believe in him, and I depend on him for guidance as I go along. For my most satisfying moments when you buy the chips and you tell me that, wow, this tastes good. Or sometimes I'm a person said, wow, this is the best chips on the market. I really feel good, and it's very satisfying, and I gain, satisfaction through that, and it helps and it motivates me to continue when persons buy it and tells me that they enjoy it. In my non-work time, I'll read books, mainly Christian literature. That's where I gain my spiritual strength. I'm not a TV person. I'll only watch news, and I'm satisfied with that, unless I'm watching some religious program. But I'm also a person that loves to travel. So if I can find somewhere to go, I'll go. But I'm mainly on the quieter side of life. I'm not the person that really sports at all. I really don't have time for it. I'll also spend time with my children, and that's how I go about doing things. I am happy when other people are happy. When I know I can help someone, and I see that joy in somebody. I mean, when I give somebody something and I see the expression, oh, thank you, it really makes me happy. So when I can make other people happy, I am happy. My future plans for Henry's Delight is not limited to my home. I am hoping that one day Henry's Delight can own a very large property, and I will say 1,000 acres. That's where I can set up my factory, and of course manufacture all the things that I want and all the other dreams that I have for Henry's Delight, which I will not say at this time. And I'm able to have persons coming in and buy chips in bulk instead of going out there and supplying it. So I am hoping that one day I can own a property with a large business on it. My advice to young entrepreneurs or persons who decide to start a business is that I know it's not going to be easy because you're going to be faced with many challenges. But when these challenges come, do not give up. Just ride out the storm, and remember that anything that you're doing, put Christ first, because as it says, as he says to us, seek ye first, and everything else will be added unto you. So when you put Christ first, he will direct your path. You'll have to decide to work very hard, because being an entrepreneur comes with hard work, and that's what brings success. Do not give up, because there's no way you can be successful if you are going to go in it to give up. You have to tell yourself that I am going to do this, comes what may. And there are opportunities out there where you can get grants or get loaned with small interests. You can seek on those opportunities. For example, DBJ, you can check with them and see what are the loans that they have available for entrepreneurs. And these are low interest loans. And check with them and also see what are the grants that are there that are available for entrepreneurs. So those of you who are interested in becoming entrepreneurs, remember, do not decide to go in it to fail. Because if you do that, then you're going to fail. And remember, as I said before, always put Christ first, and he will direct you.
I'm Butch Hendrickson. You're watching BATV, serious about business.
This week on Home Sweet Home, it's all about painting. So no matter the size of the space, what you use it for, old or new, adding a coat of paint is the most cost-effective way to spruce up the place. And not only that, but you can make your space feel so much larger and more cozy. Don't go anywhere. Home Sweet Home will be right back. Marketing Manager at Berger Paints Limited. Okay, so tell me, what are some of the products and services that Berger Paints offers?
Anybody in Jamaica, once you think Berger Paints, you think paints. And we offer all the different kind of paints you can think of, but not just the range of paints that we also offer services. We have our color advice service where we help people in terms of determining what color they want for their rooms, what color they want for their projects. We also have an app that we just launched, again, that helps people to be able to identify the different colors. As at Berger, we say we have over 1,800 colors that you can tint paint in. So with the app, it helps you to easily identify that color. Easily, you can take a picture of a flower and it can tell you which Berger color is in the flower. Perfectly. Exactly. Okay. So when it comes to paints, we have a wide range. We have from our emulsion paints, which is water-based paints. We also have our oil paints. So it depends on really what it is that you're looking for. Berger also have brushes. So, you know, to go with paint, you need the paint brushes.
So it's a one-stop shop. I can get everything done.
Pretty much. Yeah. I mean, you have the paint, you have the primers, you have the thinner, you have for the industrial, so it's not just for homeowners. It's also have for hotels, for the big industries, for hospitals, for police. We have all different kind of paints needed, all made here in Jamaica.
So if I wanted to paint a room, a little DIY project, what are some of the tools that I would need, other than the paint, of course?
Well, the first thing is, a lot of people don't think about it, but when it comes to painting, you need to make sure that once you determine the color, you need to make sure you get certain things like you need to get tape, so that you can tape off your areas and you have straight lines. You need to get like a drop cloth, so that when you're painting and the paints don't spill and you don't mess up the place, that way when you finish painting, you just take up everything and you move on pretty quickly. You need to make sure you have the right types of brushes. You need to make sure that you have the right roller, you know, your roller trays, and depending, if it is oil paint, then you definitely need thinner. I know typically in Jamaica when we come to water-based paint, everybody always throwing water in the paint to make it stretch. But when it comes to Berger paints, you really don't need to thin the paint because the paint comes at the right consistency to give you the coverage.
And then if you add water to the paint, wouldn't it distort the color?
It can affect the color, but also it can affect the kind of coverage that you get. Okay. So the paint may look patchy when it goes on, or it may not give you you may be able to see through parts of it because you've diluted it too much.
So if I find a color paint that I like, example lavender, would I be able to find that exact color in the low sheen, the satin, the emulsion?
Okay. Well, in most of our paints, yes, you can tint. And tinting allows you to be able to get that color in the different types of paints. So in our flat, that's our 303, which is great for like your exterior walls. You can definitely get it in that. And also we can tint it in our Everglow, which is our low sheen. It can be done also in our Royal, which gives you the satin finish, and also in our Weatherproof, and also our 404. So it can be tinted in different range of products. There's a interesting thing to note though, is that based on the sheen level, the shade may look a little bit different because the sheen level is really based on how much light it's reflecting. Okay. Yeah. So yes, Berger allows tinting, and we have tinting stations all across Jamaica in most hardwares.
one of the paints here, can't remember which one, it offers a 7-year warranty. I've never heard of that before. Which paint is that?
Well, Berger actually had 2 paints that offer 7-year warranty. There is our Weatherproof Ultra, which is our exterior paint. So that is a paint, it has anti-algal properties, antifungal. It is formulated to resist peeling and for the color to last. So within that 7 years, you won't have to worry about repainting as regularly as you normally would. And also with our Royal is our interior emulsion. We say it's our interior luxury emulsion because not just it comes with a 7-year warranty, but it also is the lowest odor paint on the market. You know, people nowadays talk about having sinus problems, people are allergic to the smell of paint. With Royal, you can paint and don't have to worry about the smell. You don't have to worry about your children being bothered.
Does Berger Paints offer any environmentally friendly options with the paints?
So lead has been one of those things that people used to think about when it comes to paint as something that's unsafe, but all the Berger paints are free of lead. And all our emulsions are also environmentally friendly. We're constantly keeping up in terms of the global trends to make sure that our formulations meet the requirements locally, of course, but also we have many architects who work from overseas and who specify the paint locally. So we have to make sure that our colors, our paints also meet US and European standards when it comes to environmental.
Now, I heard you speaking about tints earlier. Now, how is a tint or tinting a paint different from a standard paint?
Okay. The tinting versus standard paints, really tinting came around to make paint and getting all the colors you want in paint more convenient for the consumer. Standard paints are those colors that come from the factory made, while the tinted paints we actually prepare here in store. So it'll come from the factory as a base, and in the store we add a different colorants to give it the shade that you want.
So a tinted paint is more a custom paint then?
It allows for customization. But from a quality standpoint, from the wear that you expect to get, from the look that you expect to get, the standards are the same when it comes to how the paint will perform.
So when I'm using the app then, the paints that I would be getting would be a tinted paint, because that would be a more custom job.
Yeah, the Berger Color Scheme Pro app will show you the 1800 range of colors that are available as our tinted range from Berger. Yes. So with Royal, it's great for the interior due to the fact that it not just has the lowest odor in the market, it also has great stain resistance and great scrubbability. What that means is when there's a spill or a child uses a pen or a mark on writes on the wall, you don't need to have to stress and go and get soap and scrub, and when you're scrubbing the color comes off. No, with Royal, little moist cloth, wipes it off, it's just good as new. And also it comes with a 7-year warranty, as you mentioned, so that means it will last. That color will be there for 7 years and even longer.
So the color will be there, but will it be the same color that I bought 7 years ago?
Well, due to light and the amount of exposure to light, there may be some fading in terms of the color, but it's not something that you'll notice.
Okay, it won't be like pitchy-patchy.
No, you won't have that pitchy-patchy issue. You'll just have where the color gradually changes, but you won't even notice it unless you have like a picture frame over it or something, you won't notice it.
So the Royal seems more like a higher end. What's the price difference between the Royal and a 303?
Well, the Royal, yes, is the highest in terms of the interior paint. And we also have an exterior paint which are weatherproof. And in terms of price difference, it's about a 20%, depending on the store, sometimes 25%, but it's mostly around 20% difference. But the key is, instead of having to paint every 2 years or every year, you can wait 7. So it's more economical. And we've seen where that message has been catching on with a lot of people, and not just homeowners, but you have many developers who are building apartments who are using Royal on the inside because of that, and hotels love Royal because they don't have to paint that often.
Okay, yeah. So it makes sense, it's value for money.
It's definitely value for money, and it's, I mean, Berger Paints, it's developed here, so it's made for the Jamaican environment.
Price-wise, I'm painting a small room. What's the price like?
Well, it really depends on the type of paint that you want. So for inside, people will go for your Royal or your Everglow. And if it's just a gallon that you need, that can carry between like 2,000 to 3,000.
And if I'm using the Royale, do I need to use a primer first, or I just need 2 coats of the Royale?
In most cases, you just need to use 2 coats of the Royale.
Okay.
A few colors may require a primer.
And depending on what was on the wall before.
And depending, right. So a very important point is that when it comes to painting, many times people say there are difficulties or after they painted something goes wrong. But the key thing is that more than half of the problems when it comes to painting is the fact that the proper preparation wasn't put in place. So you have to make sure you prepare the surface properly. If it's a freshly done wall, a freshly constructed wall, you need to make sure that you use something like a Berger alkali sealer to seal the wall. Afterwards, you make sure that you apply your primer to make sure the surface is ready for the paint.
Okay.
So
and
that's
then
very
that will
important.
hold the paint.
That will make sure the paint adheres and you get the right color that you're looking for.
Okay. Casey, thank you so much. I think I'm ready to paint my house now. I know everything I need to know, and I know that I can use Berger paints. Oh, and when I walked in, I saw some stencils.
Yes. We have our Berger Royal wall fashion stencils. Okay. We have 23 different designs, and it's really an easy, quick way to transform a room. So you don't have to go through and do a full paint job. You can just find a room, find a wall, and apply any of our 23 different stencils. And these are plastic, so they are always reusable for different projects.
After the break, we're going to meet up with Alicia Aliang, interior designer with Zandali Designs, and she's going to show us how to pick the perfect color palette for your space. Don't go anywhere. Home Sweet Home, we'll be right back.
Your business matters. Business Access TV offers you the most innovative and effective advertising solution for your business, specializing in B2B sales, cost-effective solutions, the customers you want, the repetition you need. No matter the size and nature of your company, your business matters.
Call us at 876-291-6233 or 876-376-4225. Email sales@batvja.com.
Are back with another exciting, innovative and inspiring season.
It takes a lot of stick-to-itiveness, being consistent and persistent in whatever you're doing. That's the bottom line.
Business exists to add value to people's lives. And if we're not doing that, might as well we knock down the store and just call it a day.
It's a season 3 of Creating Wealth, Mondays at 8 p.m. on Business Access TV.
Ready for cable for as little as $100? Ready for no monthly cable bill? Ready for 10 TV channels absolutely free? Then pick up our Ready TV box at authorized stores for $4,500. Hook it up to your TV set, then top it up with Ready Credit for 1, 7, or 30 days. Buy now and get $1,000 free Ready Credit and start watching your favorite shows. Pick it up, hook it up, top it up. Ready TV. Prepaid cable TV when you're ready. Now serving Kingston and St. Catherine. Limited time offer while stocks last. Conditions apply.
Alicia? How are you?
Great, thanks. How are you?
I'm good, thanks for having us. You ready for my chit chat?
Yep.
Thank you. Well, this is lovely.
Thank you.
I'm here with Alicia Aliang from Zandali Designs, contractor and interior decorator. Now, tell me, what does an interior decorator do?
Well, I mean, it ranges from meeting with the client and getting a feel for what they like, what their needs are, what their preferences are, and trying to couple that if they have any build-outs. So you kind of have to match. So it would be tile selection, paint selection, and furniture layout. So it's good to have a plan from the beginning to carry you straight through from when construction starts to when you put the paintings on the wall.
Okay, and then how do you go about selecting the color palette for a house?
Well, it depends. Some clients are very precise and they would say, I like blues. Typically I find people either like blues or greens. I've never really heard of anybody liking both at the same time. Again, you have to feel out the client. If there's a husband and wife team, you have to play referee between the two, who likes it. Some people may like the bling and the sparkle, and then the husband may like very muted, monochromatic, and it's just to try and get them together and to agree on something. So it can be very tricky.
Tell us what the difference a fresh coat of paint can make.
It can make a huge difference in terms of budget as well, your pocket, and the look and feel of the place. So if your room is painted in a dark color and you want to change it up, you get a completely different look with the light colors, and then the way the light reflects on it, it could just change up so much just by buying 1 gallon of paint for your room.
And how do you choose the paints, the brands, the types for the interior versus the exterior of the house?
Oh, well, for the exterior of the house, it's always good to look for paints that have probably algae resistant. They come with warranties and that kind of thing. So when you make a decision, you could look at what's out there. But Berger has a really good weatherproof paint that I use, and they give a 7-year warranty. And I sell this to all of my clients. I mean, I don't think there's anything better right now.
Okay. And then for the interior, you go with the...
Yeah, I can go. You can go, it depends on your budget as well, I would assume. They're the low sheens. And then there's one of them called Royal. Royal is a satin paint, so it's not as shiny as a low sheen. Right. It's durable if you have kids around or whatever and you want to do an easy clean. I think the Royal is a better bet to go.
And then with the satin, is that the finish that you prefer for the overall look?
Definitely, I like the satin. I mean, between the low sheen and the satin, I like the satin more. I think the low sheen would probably be a little bit more affordable, but the Royal brand for the Berger line, I think that's like the best bet.
When you're painting a wall, what are the different techniques that you can use?
Oh, well, you can go with straight paint. You can paint the whole room in one color, and then you go with little accents in there that will give you little pops. You can go with a focal wall, which would be an accent wall, so you could go with a dark color. You can do things like Venetian plaster, which is when you plaster the wall and then you kind of buff it down and it gives you that kind of texture, look like leather. You can go with sponging, you can go with dry brushing. They have any number. You can go with stenciling, and that's like the new thing now. And I think Berger they have some stencils, all kind of little patterns that you could put. So if it's a playful room you want for your daughter, you can go with maybe some butterflies. They have a variety of them, and it can change the look of any place. Like a nursery, get it more exciting, you know.
And these are all techniques that you can do
at home. Do it yourself.
Okay, and you can do them yourself. Okay. And I hear you have something planned for me today.
Yes, I'm going to show you how to do it.
Okay.
Everybody out there can do it themselves.
Okay. And with the Berger stencils, because I was speaking with Berger earlier, they do have the stencils, and I picked my favorite one.
Right. Okay.
So I'm going to go try out my my DIY talents.
Okay, I'm going to get the nails dirty.
Your business matters. Business Access TV offers you the most innovative and effective advertising solution for your business, specializing in B2B sales, cost-effective solutions, the customers you want, the repetition you need. No matter the size and nature of your company, your business matters.
Call us at 876-291-6233 or 876-376-4225. Email sales@batvja.com.
Are back with another exciting, innovative, and inspiring season.
It takes a lot of stick-to-itiveness, being consistent and persistent in whatever you're doing. That's the bottom line.
Business exists to add value to people's lives. And if we're not doing that, might as well we lock down the store and just call it a day.
It's a season 3 of Creating Wealth, Mondays at 8 p.m. on Business Access TV.
I'm Adam Stewart. This is Business Access TV, serious about business.
They say it takes a village to raise a child, but the world will one day need the leadership of that child. The time you spend with your child matters. It stimulates their minds and shapes the way they act. Talk with your children. Help them to better understand the world around them and to value what is truly precious. Above all, the most valuable gift you can give them is love. Play, talk, teach, love. Take the time. It makes all the difference. A message from the Parenting Helpline and Ad Council Jamaica.
Well, this is one of my projects. It's a complete refurbishment of an old house. I did some expansions. I made the garage into the kitchen. The patio was converted to the dining room. Put up some drywall partitions. I made it into, it was a 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom. It's now 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom.
Okay.
So it's a complete redo. Tiling, electricals, painting, everything.
And now we're going to spruce up one of the bedrooms with some stencils.
Ready to get all dirty?
Yes.
Let's go.
Okay, so you tape up your stencil and that's basically it.
Well, this is what it is. This is the Berger butterfly kit.
Right.
So it comes just like this. And then if you look on the back of it, they have little ideas on how to do the butterfly. You can just place it randomly wherever you feel like though. So you get this in the package and you stick it onto the wall.
And this is reusable, this plastic piece is reusable?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
It is. And then what you do is that you take your roller. Make sure that you probably should use a felt roller, and then kind of roll it out so it's not too heavy. You come from the corners in, right, very lightly, yeah. So because you don't want any running, yeah.
Are doing good?
Yeah, I could bring you on site. Yep, perfect.
And this is what kind of paint? This pink paint is what?
This is the Royal SKU at Berger.
Okay. So then I'd have to put more than one coat so I don't have
so
that
you kind of have to wait for this to dry because inevitably what you don't want is running behind the stencil.
Okay.
So when you peel this off after the second coat, after it dries, then you get a nice clean butterfly.
Okay. I think I messed up that part.
Yeah, no man, it'll be all right.
Okay, so to place the stencil is pretty easy. It was pretty easy to roll the paint.
Everything is just, you can do it all on your own. Again, this is a different one. The one inside was butterfly. This is a different one. So you just take up a stencil, right? Decide where you want to put it. You see how the wall is primed? The wall is primed.
Right.
And so the color that you're going to select would be a darker color, right? And then we just tape it on.
And then how long after you paint it should you take the stencil off? Because you need 2 coats, right?
Right. You can just kind of look at it and see how it dries. If it's low sheen, it wouldn't take that long to dry. Maybe like I don't know, 15 minutes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that makes it so much easier if you have to keep reusing the stencil.
Yeah, definitely.
15 minutes isn't long at all.
The wall is painted in a silver spray, right? And then this color, it's called Emerald Satin. And then you just give it a nice stir, right? And then make sure you have a drop cloth because you don't want to mess up your entire house. And you pour a little bit of the paint. This is the Royal, Berger Royal, the brand I was telling you about.
Alright, just a toops.
Yep. And then you put it lightly in there, and you kind of roll it out there so it's not too heavy. I'll roll off a little more because we don't want it going underneath the stencil. Right, and then we come up here.
Now your own way look better than mine.
But you're going good, you could go a little.
So why can't I use a paintbrush?
This is just how it's recommended, less spillage, less, I guess, wastage, and doesn't go under the stencil as much. Yeah, so this will be your first coat, and you wait a bit. Then you put on your second coat, and when that dries, then you take your time and peel it off.
Okay, so we have 2 coats here on our butterfly, and we're good to go. It's dry.
Yeah, it's dry.
I can pull off the stencil?
Yes, you can pull it off. Just pull off the tape. And there you have it.
Ah, beautiful.
Nice little butterfly.
Alicia, thank you so much. But like, other than the stencils, what other DIYs can I do just for like a quick spruce up?
Well, apart from paints and painting your wall, which is the most obvious and cost-efficient one, you have things that you can do, like if you have your kitchen and the cabinets are in good shape, you can sand them down, and you could use any one of Berger stains, the colors, and stain over your cabinets, and you get a brand new kitchen, you know, on a budget.
Yeah.
So you don't have to like rip out a kitchen and go through all that expense, and you know, and it would just cost you a couple gallons and the sanding and some labor. Yeah.
Elisa, thank you so much. It was so great talking with you and getting all of these great tips and advice. Okay. And now I know how to, I'm going to take this one with me, you know?
There you go.
Yeah, because I know how to put on stencils.
Butterflies all over.
All over. Thank you.
Okay.
And that's it for this week's episode of Home Sweet Home, where we saw where a little bit of paint can make a big difference. I'm Jody. See you next week.
Every day you wake up, you have another opportunity to make this little island better, safer, a place where we all can be proud to call home. It's time we all recognize that every little thing we do has an impact on the Jamaica we live in now and the country we're leaving for our children. So promise me this, promise yourself this: no more will we tolerate criminals, even if it's our relatives. Tell them they're doing something wrong. Tell them to stop. Tell them no more robbing our children of the Jamaica they deserve. Tell them no more crime.
Hi, my name is Diane Plummer, and I'm the Managing Director for Your True Shade. So the program that I participated in was Creating Wealth, and it would give viewers an idea of the different processes in Your True Shade, taking the products from the raw materials to the production and then finally to the consumer. Being on Business Access TV has definitely impacted my business because since the feature was aired, I got a lot of calls asking about the products, where they can get products, and asking additional information as well. Another thing that I did was to actually link the video to my social media posts so that persons can actually learn more about the brand. So for persons considering BATV, I would definitely recommend it because you will definitely see the payoff for it. Persons will definitely be interested in finding out more about you as well as your brand.
Your business matters. Promote it on Business Access TV. Call our sales partner, Yellow, at 936-3940. Business Access TV. Serious about business. Your business matters. Business Access TV offers you the most innovative and effective advertising solution for your business, specializing in B2B sales, cost-effective solutions, the customers you want, the repetition you need. No matter the size and nature of your company, your business matters.
Call us at 876-291-6233 or 876-376-4225. Email sales@batvja.com.
Career Moves has always explored interesting careers, highlighting all you may not have known about them. This season is no different.
Coming back to Jamaica, everyone's like, fizzy what? Fizzy who?
When you find a bright boy or girl in the class and people say, what are you going to be? The parents will say, you have to go be a doctor, you have to go be a lawyer. Nobody says you have to go be a politician.
Let me see